morning, students. So in the last class, we have seen Donna, Laura and Don Gonzalo discussing their love story. Laura explained to Don Gonzalo what happened to her friend, the Silver Maiden, after Gonzalo ran away from that place. And Gonzalo told his version of the story about the gallant horseman, his cousin. So the fact was that Laura, after 2 years, married somebody else and was leading her life in her own way. Gonzalo, soon after 3 months, started enjoying his life. He ran off to Paris with a ballet dancer. So, though this is the fact, both of them had created wonderful stories about their own lives. Gonzalo told Laura that the gallant horseman died whispering her name, whispering Laura's name, holding the flag of Spain in a trench war in Africa, whereas Laura said that the Silver Maiden, soon after a year, who did not receive any letter from her lover, committed suicide. She went to the seashore, wrote his name on the sand and sat on a rock, and the waves carried her away to the sea. And it was only after her death that the horseman had died. So this is what we had seen in the previous class, and today we will see what happens to them, what happens to their relationship. Now, Donna Laura says, fate is curious. You don't know what fate has in store for everyone. It's so strange. Here are you and I, complete strangers, met by chance, discussing the romance of old friends of long ago. We have been conversing as if we were old friends. So now Donna Laura tells Gonzalo, you know, we have met at this park by chance. And again, the conversation at the beginning was not so a happy one. We had quarreled, and now we sit here, we discuss the romance of our old friends. And I just wonder how strangely fate acts. And now we are talking to each other as if we know each other, as if we have been known to each other for long time. So as if we are old friends, we are discussing. And Gonzalo says, yes, it is curious, considering the ill-natured prelude to our conversation. Prelude means introduction. See, when you think about the first part of the conversation, it was in an ill-natured way that we started conversing. You know, I spoke a little rough to you and you also gave reply in the same way. We were not quite happy with each other. So I never thought that we would become friends. I never thought that we could speak in this way. I never thought that we would discuss the romance of our old friends. So it's really, curious, strange. And according to the Greek mythology, fate is 3 sisters, 3 blind sisters. So that's why we say fate is blind. You may want to get married to a person, but fate may have some other things in store for you. How much ever hard you try for that, sometimes you may not be successful in achieving your dreams. So after a long period, more than 50 years later, both of them meet at a park and discuss their own love story on the pretext of discussing their friends or cousins' story. So Gonzalo reminds her about the beginning of their conversation. It was not a happy one, you remember that? And Laura, you scared away the birds. Yes, I understand, we were not having a good time at the beginning. What is the reason? I did not start it, you started it. You scared away my birds and I was so unhappy, angry, and that is why all the things began. So it is your fault. She again tries to find fault with Gonzalo here. Gonzalo, I was unreasonable perhaps. Probably, I admit my mistake. I did not act in a proper way. I accept. Because he doesn't want Laura to go away from him now. Laura, yes, that was evident. Yes, it was your mistake, not my mistake. That's very clear. Sweetly, are you coming again tomorrow? See the change in her tone. She says, yes, it is your mistake. And then immediately, in a very sweet voice, she is asking, are you coming tomorrow? Because it's sometime that they are in the park and the sun has come up. Now they need to go. So she's asking, can we meet tomorrow? Most certainly. if it is a sunny morning. I'll come on one condition. If it is a sunny morning, if it is a cold morning, I cannot come out because I am old and I have got my own problems. And not only will I not scare away the birds, but I will bring a few crumbs. You know, when I come tomorrow, if it is a sunny morning, I will bring breadcrumbs for your birds. I will not scare them away. Instead, I'll join you to feed those birds. Laura, thank you very much. Laura is so happy because birds gave her companionship at the park, and here this man says that I'll join you tomorrow with breadcrumbs. Birds are grateful and repay attention. I wonder where my maid is. Petra signals for her maid. So now she says, you know why I feed them? Birds are grateful. Birds are thankful. They remember you. Probably it's an indication about human beings who are not always grateful. So she says, birds repay attention as well. They give us attention. See, when you are in the evening of your lifetime, I told you most of the youngsters, your own children or grandchildren may not have time for you. They may not give you any attention. And here she finds companionship in those birds. She says they provide you attention. You can talk to them as if you are talking to human beings. So you can join me in that. Then she calls out to her maid, Petra. She says, Petra, and Gonzalo aside, looking at Laura, whose back is turned. No, I will not reveal myself. I am grotesque now. Better that she recall the gallant horseman who passed daily beneath her window, tossing flowers. So Gonzalo, in an aside, he looks at Laura. Laura is calling out to her maid Petra. So he looks at her, and in an aside, he does not want her to hear, but he wants the audience to listen to that. He says, I will not reveal myself. I am grotesque now. You know, I don't want her to know that I am Gonzalo. Why? Because I am ugly. I am gouty. I can't walk properly. I have got my own issues in this old age. And let her not understand that I am Gonzalo. Better that she recall the gallant horseman who passed daily beneath her window, tossing flowers. Let her have an impression of Gonzalo in this way. The gallant horseman who came through the rose path under her window, standing there looking at her and tossing the bouquet of flowers. I don't want her to know me as an ugly man. Here she comes. So Laura is now looking at Petra walking towards her and says, she is here. Gonzalo, that Vanito, he plays havoc with the nursemaids. You know, my maid Vanito is always happy with the nursemaids around. So from this we understand that the park is filled with old people. There are nursemaids like Petra who have come with them, and Vanito finds comfortable in their company. So he is calling out to him as well. Looks to her right and signals with his hands. So he is calling out with his hands. Now Laura, aside, looking at Gonzalo whose back is turned. So now Gonzalo looking towards the right. Laura looks at him and in an aside tells her, no, I am too sadly changed. I have changed a lot. I am no longer the beautiful silver maiden. It's better he should remember me as the black-eyed girl tossing flowers as he passed among the roses in the garden. Let him remember me as the silver maiden, 16, 17 years, standing at her window, passing him the bouquet of flowers. Let him have that impression about him. Let him not think of me as this old woman who is, no longer beautiful. Vanito enters by right, Petra by left. She has a bunch of violets in her hand. Violets, kind of flower that you always find in the park, a fragrant flower which is purple and bluish in color generally. So now Vanito enters from the right side and Petra comes from the left side. Petra is holding a bunch of violet flowers in her hand. So now you understand why they have not revealed their identities. Gonzalo did not reveal his identity because he wanted Laura, the silver maiden, to remember him as a gallant horseman tossing flowers at her. He does not want her to realize that he's so ugly. The same reason Laura has. She does not want him to see her in that light. She wants him to remember as the black-eyed girl tossing the bouquet of flowers. See, that's what age matters a lot. As you grow old, your appearances would change. But you always want to create the best impression in the mind of your lover. She is trying to do that. Gonzalo is also trying to do that. So that's why they create fictitious stories as well. You remember, they create stories about their own death, valiant death, glorious death, only for one reason, to have a better impression, to create a good impression in the mind of the lover. Laura, now looking at Petra, says, "Well, Petra, at last. So, where were you all this while? I said 10 minutes. You go and speak to your guard and come back. And where were you all this while?" Gonzalo, "Juanito, you are late." So, both of them have got their servants now with them. Petra to Donna Laura. "The guard gave me these violets for you, Senora." So, Petra knows how to make her mistress pleasant. So, what did Petra do? Probably the violets had been handed over to Petra by the guard as a symbol of his love for her. But immediately she offered the bunch of flowers. She said, "These violets are for you, Senora. You know who gave this? The guard. Not for me, it is for you." And see Laura's reply, "How very nice. Thank him for me. They are fragrant." And now Laura is flattered. She's so happy that at least the guard of the park has given her some flowers. So she says, "You please thank him for me next time when you meet him. And it's so nice of him to think about me and give these violets." And she enjoys the fragrance of the flowers. In actual, the flowers are for Petra, but here she understands that her mistress is not so happy. So in order to please her, she has handed this over. As she takes the violets from her maid, a few loose ones fall to the ground. So as she's taking the violets, some of the violets fall on the ground. Gonzalo, "My dear lady, this has been a great honor and a great pleasure." So both of them are about to go from the park. So now Gonzalo addresses her and says, "My dear lady." You remember how did he address her at the beginning? Senile old woman. And in contrast now, he says, "My dear lady." She has become so dear to him. "And it has been a great honor and pleasure. I was so pleased to speak to you. I'll not forget." And Laura, "It has also been a pleasure to me. Even for me, the same thing. I was so happy to meet you. Goodbye until tomorrow." So Gonzalo says, "Okay, fine, goodbye. We'll meet tomorrow. Until tomorrow. Tomorrow, let's meet." Laura, "Until tomorrow." So she does not want another day to move on. She says, "Only until tomorrow. Tomorrow we have to meet." So they are fixing appointments now. Gonzalo, "If it is sunny, I've already told you I'll come out only on sunny mornings. So if it is sunny, definitely I'll be there. So don't mistake me if I don't come." And Laura says, "A sunny morning." "No doubt, I am sure it will be a sunny morning." See, she's so full of positive thought. She's so optimistic that the next morning will be a sunny day because she wants to meet this old man now. She does not want to miss him. So she says, "No worries, you will come here because it will be a sunny morning tomorrow." And see the next question. "Will you go to your bench? Will you go to your bench? You at the beginning you had said that bench belonged to you. 3 priests were there. That's why you came here. So will you go there?" "No, I will come to this." "If you do not come, no worries, lady. I will not go there. I'll come to you. We will sit and speak." If you do not object, if you don't have any issue, definitely I will come here. I will never go there now. This bench is at your disposal. This bench is for you. I'll always reserve a place for you near me," she says. You remember the initial conversation that happened between them. Gonzalo was not willing to sit. And he said that, "I will not sit near this lady." And he had gone away in search of a place for himself. Now he's quite happy with this woman. And he says, I'll come here. Earlier, Laura had objected saying that you should have taken my permission before you sat here. And now she says, no, I don't have any objection, please come. See the change, what magic has been created by a pinch of snuff. It's that snuff that brought all these changes in these two old people. Gonzalo says, and I'll surely bring the crumbs. I'll bring breadcrumbs, I won't forget it. He wants to please her again because she was displeased with him, she was angry with him as he scared away her birds. So I'll bring crumbs, we'll feed them together. Tomorrow then? So, is it confirmed? Tomorrow shall we meet? Will you come here? Tomorrow. So Gonzalo says, yes, final. I'll come tomorrow. Laura walks away toward right, supported by her maid. Gonzalo, before leaving with Manito, trembling and with a great effort, stoops to pick up these violets Laura dropped. Just then, Laura turns her head and surprises him picking up the flowers. So now they have decided that they would meet at the park the very next day, and Laura is sure it will be a sunny morning. Laura walks toward the right along with her maid, and now Gonzalo is leaving with Juanito. Now as he was leaving, what does he do? He has seen the flowers on the ground. He just tries to pick the flowers that are on the ground. He does not want to miss those flowers. Probably he's reminded of the throwing and tossing of the bouquet of roses. So he just bends down to pick up those violets. Just then, Laura turns her head and surprises him picking up the flowers. And Laura is also all the more cautious. She probably has dropped the violets purposefully because as she found him stooping, she just turns her head and sees. So she has seen him taking the flowers, picking the flowers from the ground. And Juanito, what are you doing, senor? So now Juanito is wondering because if he falls down again, it's a problem. He can't walk properly, he needs support. So he's asking, what are you doing? And now Gonzalo, Juanito, wait, I'll come. He was just picking up the flowers and trying to join Juanito. Laura, aside, yes, it is he. So now, in an aside, she says, it is he. I was sure. Now there is no doubt at all, 100% sure. It is he. It is my gallant horseman. Otherwise, he would not have picked up the violets from the ground. And Gonzalo, in an aside, says, it is she. And no mistake. I am sure it is Laura. Otherwise, she would not have turned back to see me picking up the flowers. And there is no mistake this time, 100% sure. So now, next day when they meet, they won't have any issue because they have recognized, though they have not revealed it openly, it is sure that they have recognized each other. Donna Laura and Don Gonzalo wave farewell. So, on both sides of the stage, they are bidding farewell to each other, waving their hands. And as Laura goes out, she just recites one line from the poem of Cambermore, 20 years pass, he returns. Can it be that this is he? And Gonzalo recites the next line, heavens, is it she? So you know, this poem or these lines are also sung in the same background after 20 years. Two old lovers meet and they're surprised to see the changes in them. In the same way, Laura says, earlier I was doubtful, but it is he. And now Gonzalo says, my goodness, what a change has happened to my silver maiden after a long period. They smile once more, as if they were again at the window, and he below in the rose garden, and then disappear upon the arms of their servants. So now they smile at each other and they leave the stage, and their smile tells us they do not see the old figures in their mind. For Gonzalo, Laura is again the teenage girl who stands at her window with a bouquet of roses, and for her, It is the gallant horseman who stands down in the rose path. And then with this smile, they go their different ways. Though they are going in two different directions, tomorrow definitely they would come to the park and meet and will spend some comfortable time with each other. So this is the play A Sunny Morning. So now dear students, hope you have enjoyed all the sessions of A Sunny Morning. You know, long lost love is refound in this chapter. You know, long back, more than 50 years before, they were lovers and they meet accidentally at a park, and it was not a good introduction to each other. They were quarreling. Laura addressed Gonzalo as an ill-natured man, and Gonzalo addressed Laura as a senile old woman. But later, a pinch of snuff brought peace between them, and they become friends, and they start the friendly conversation. And the friendly conversation leads them to Valencia. They narrate the story of the silver maiden who lived in the villa Maricela, taking their turns, and they did not reveal their true nature, true identities, just for one reason. Gonzalo wanted Laura to remember him as a brave horseman, whereas Laura wanted him to remember her as the silver maiden, the black-eyed girl with jet black hair, fair as a lily. This is the description that he gives about her. And he also says her figure was perfect. So she wanted him to retain those memories. So though they did not reveal to each other openly, both of them understood. And now, hopefully, they would find companionship in the evening of their life. Now look at the title, A Sunny Morning. I have told you at the beginning, sun brings you warmth, sun gives you light, sun gives you life, sun gives you a positive outlook, optimistic outlook for life. So a sunny morning in the autumn season helped these old people to have an introduction to each other. And this has brought a great change to their lives. In the evening of their lives, when cold weather is setting in, they would find the warmth of their friendship again. So please go through the questions at the back of the chapter, and if at all there is any doubt, you want any questions, any doubts regarding the answers, please reach out to the WhatsApp group. Hope you all enjoyed. Thank you.